Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Talk Your Shift. I am Mel.
I am Dom.
Girl, let's get it together. Okay, and today I am so very excited. The both of us are so very excited to bring in a very close friend of ours. She is an artist. She is a musician. She is a yoga instructor. She is our counselor in moments of crisis. She is all of the things. And small business owner of Three Moons Company, Christina Palladino.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So, how you doing? Welcome.
Thank you.
Even though we're recording in her house.
Welcome to my table. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
We've been dying to start having guests on the show, and we knew from the jump Christina was going to be one of our guests and possibly a revisitor. We're going to have her come back and keep coming back, and it's just because she always has some really insightful shit to say. So, that being said, how are you doing today, Dom?
I don't want to say tired, but
that's your answer in every episode.
That's always my default. That's always my default. So I want to say today I'm feeling grateful and grateful for people that I have in my life and have had in my life, and also just, I guess, nostalgic, but also too, I can't think of a term for when you're reflecting on things, I guess.
Reflective?
Son of a bitch. Thank you.
I got you.
We just shook hands.
Oh, my hands are clammy. I'm so sorry.
It's
the coffee, girl.
I shook hands with a clam. She said, here's my fish hands.
Fish hands.
No, her hands weren't bad. But yeah, so feeling reflective, nostalgic, and grateful for all those I love and care about. So,
that's beautiful.
I know.
We love to hear it.
Yeah, it's a good place to
be. You guys are in there too, I guess.
She always got some smart shit to say.
Always shade.
If you're new here. But
always shade.
So, just to let you know what happens on our little podcast over here is we like to talk about all the things, life, happiness, trauma sometimes, our experiences that we've had through this journey of self-love and self-care, and also just loving and having compassion for others. So we really just like to mix it up. We talk about all of the things. I know I like to say that. And at the end, we love to do a little Am I the Asshole? Because who doesn't love the drama a little bit? Mm-hmm. I mean, I was a reality TV show queen at one point, Real Housewives Atlanta, Miami, the LA, New York. It was just all those types of things. I was all up in that.
They rope you in.
They do.
And you gotta keep watching it and seeing what happens next. And sometimes you're like, people really act like this? And then there's other times, I've had these other moments where I'm like, I think I do that. So I use it as a way to check myself sometimes. Yeah. Although I'm not walking around entitled thinking that the ground I walk on belongs to me. But sometimes there's just little things and I'm like, ooh, maybe that could help me be a better human to not do stuff like that or something.
I think that's beautiful. Me, I'm all about the drama. I want to know what's going on. Why is she talking to this one? Why she said this about this one's dress? Why did you just show up to this person's party knowing you wasn't invited, being fresh,
flipping a table,
throwing drinks,
ripping your prosthetic leg off.
The prosthetic
ripping
leg.
Off your prosthetic leg.
Oh my God!
Which one is that
from New York?
That is from New York. When I tell you, I didn't realize, I never watched that episode, but Dom showed me, was it Dom?
Yeah. Yes, and it was here in this apartment.
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve.
We started off the year strong.
We did. That was hilarious. You were like, look, and then the way that the cameraman just zoomed in on the fucking leg. And you're the shade, and then you see the people in the background holy shit. It's just I just wanted a Cosmo.
Yes. The people at the restaurant just getting a show, but the cameraman's this is my job.
He's
this is gonna be good.
I live for these moments.
That was arguably one of the greatest things. I never really watched reality TV show like that growing up, except for Mob Wives. That was my fucking shit.
Oh,
that was my
God.
shit. Danielle and I had a routine. We'd come home, make our Elio's pizza, make our easy fries,
Elio's.
throw on some Mob Wives. But I really only got into reality TV show and MTV and everything because of Danielle. And it's just so fucking funny. So I never actually saw that episode, and then Danielle showed it to me, and I was like, that's funny as shit. Yeah.
Listen, Mob Wives was my absolute shit. Do you remember the, oh my God, when, what's her name called, I think her name was Renee.
Yes.
Like, when what's her name said Renee's man smelled delicious, and then she was pissed off for like 3 fucking
I
seasons.
don't know what you're talking about, but whoa.
Like, this new girl came, and she, like, they said
it
hello.
Karen?
No.
wasn't
It was
Karen,
the
right?
young new one.
The
She
younger
was a
one?
model. It was the younger one.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Karen was dealing with her own shit with her man or whatever. But, no, it's like she held on to this shit for like so many seasons, and it was just a simple. They were at a bar or a restaurant. Renee introduces her man. The chick stands up to give him a hug, hello, and she just simply goes, "Oh wow, your cologne smells delicious. Like you smell delicious." And then Renee was just like, "What?" And then they start zooming in on her and shit.
Gosh.
Delicious. And then all of a sudden it's behind the scenes, and she's just like, "I can't believe this bitch said my man smells fucking delicious. Like that's so disrespectful." And I'm like, and she's just like, "How the fuck yeah?" And they just
Wow.
went, and this chick is just like, "What?" Like
She got set off.
And then it was, I feel like she talked about that shit for forever.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I feel like Renee's drama was always the same shit. It was always like that and about her son. Yeah.
Stuck on a loop.
You're right.
Yeah,
I still
was.
follow Drita on Instagram
Oh,
because
hell
she
yeah,
is
Drita's my
hilarious
girl.
with her voiceovers.
Yeah.
I could
Voiceover
only
videos,
imagine.
They're hilarious. Like if
Yeah.
a deer busts into a building, or like a bear is like going through the garbage or whatever it is, she is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Oh, when the Kardashians got into that fight like on the show, and I think Kim smacked
The
Courtney
physical
or something
altercation
like
in
Yeah.
Chloe's house.
that.
Yeah.
She literally narrates that. She said, "Oh shit, bitch, she got you. Like you got to put them hands up." Like it was so funny. And Drita's a fighter for sure. You know.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
She's
be
like the
throwing.
only
She be
one I
throwing.
actually believed was like ready to fight.
Easily.
Like everybody else was like all this, but Drita was like, nah, like let's go. She taking her shoes off and shit.
She can prepare.
No, she was awesome. I forgot, there was one thing that she said, I can't fucking remember. And it was right before she was getting ready to get into a fight. I have to find the video, and then I'll try to play it next time or just refer to it next episode. But I forgot exactly what she says, but she like takes her shoes off or something. And I think she's like, "Now you done, bitch." I was like, I gotta find it. It's so fucking funny.
She's so good.
I love her.
That's our reality TV thing for the moment. So we are going to move on to our first segment, which is our beloved meme segment. I'm always scrolling the internet, and I tend to find these really beautiful or thought-provoking memes that come across my feed. And so today I've got 2 really good ones. They might be a little triggering, but this is what we do here. This is what we do. We talk. We provoke thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Provoke.
And promote. We do
And promote and promote.
Remember, you're just
Thinking.
Yes.
Good for the mind.
So our first one is, contrary to popular belief, all the abuse and subsequent damage isn't carried out by cruel, evil, soulless people who are terrible to everyone they meet. A significant portion of the damage is done by good people who are too proud or arrogant or blind to acknowledge or ever change the evils that they commit. I see so many decent people with heavy hearts trying to be better each day, being abused by people with clean consciences who would never even consider the possibility that they might need to change. And this is by Kaylin Dion at Kaylin Dion Poetry. And the second one, also by Kaylin Dion, is, a few kinds of people you will never forget are those who kick you when you're down and those who lend a hand. So those are the 2. Like I said, they was going to be a little bit triggering, y'all.
You know, it's very encapsulating. Like, what a great way to summarize this topic that we're about to expand on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what y'all think?
if I could sum up, when I first read that, when you sent me the docket, I read it and I was like, damn. I just like kind of had a smug face and like nodded in agreement. It was like, okay, this shit's serious, okay?
You end up taking a peek into what my feed looks like every day.
Fair enough.
With
Fair
these
enough.
things.
Insightful and
Yeah.
like very much on the healing path. I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Because we could easily see people and like, first of all, growing up in like Disney movies, there's always an evil character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're like, damn, like that's an evil person. But you know, sometimes it's a stepmother, or sometimes it's an evil queen, and like they're related to this princess or whomever is the main character in some way, shape, or form. And that evil character will like work to make their life hell. Now, we're not living in Disney movies. I think we're like all coming to terms with that. Like, we don't have evil queens in our lives, but we have people that we grow up with and we're surrounded by and that we love.
Yeah.
And that's real life love. And sometimes those people are the ones that hurt us so much. And I think that they hurt us deeper because we have that connection to them, because we're more willing to have that nurturing aspect with them, and because we're more willing to be vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
So those are the people that hit you when you're down. Those quotes go in tandem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
no, I agree. Like, I definitely have been on both sides of the first one where, I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty compassionate and empathetic and nice person. I hope. Like, I hope people think
got
I'm
it,
kind.
you got
I
it.
try, I
Yeah,
try.
you're
Like,
doing
I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna curse an old lady out, but I'm just saying, like, if you cut me off in traffic and I give you a thumbs down, like,
Oh,
you know what I'm
okay.
saying? Like,
I've been that person.
Well, actually, no, I have cursed at someone because they went through a red light. And I was walking to 7-Eleven for my job, quick story, and homeboy fucking goes through a red light as I'm in the crosswalk. So I look at him, I literally turn and look at him, and I'm like, and I like point at the light, I'm like, it's fucking red, bro. I'm like, it's a fucking red light.
Yeah.
And he just like kind of looked at me to kind of digest what was going on. I was like, you fucking idiot. And I turned around and went to 7-Eleven. But I like to think I'm kind of compassionate. And just, everyone has trauma. Everyone has past experiences that you're healing from. So I have been on both sides of that first meme where I've gotten my fair share of damage done to me from someone that I don't necessarily think is a bad person, but I think they have a lot of demons and a lot of internal things going on.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that I was the person on the receiving end of the turmoil inside of them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people don't understand that you're taking it out on those around you.
And how they're affecting those
Yes.
people.
Yes. But then I also have been on that other side of where I'm not feeling okay. I feel like most times it comes out as I question the intentions of someone who's trying to do good for me because I feel triggered and scared and like I need to guard myself. So more times than not, that's where I'm coming from on the other side of I'm not receiving things or I'm questioning things where it's like, damn, bro, like you don't trust me. And then also too, I can think of like one moment specifically where I have been more hostile because internally I was not okay. Or maybe something pissed me off or someone that I love and care about didn't do something wrong.
Yeah.
And I just snapped at them. And it was uncalled for. Granted, we're all human, so it happens.
Yes.
But, you know, I could have hurt their feelings. And unfortunately, in that moment in time, I did hurt their feelings. And it was a special day for them. So that was, you know, like I felt bad about it. But I understand both sides of the tale. But that really just kind of goes to show that we need to work on ourselves and just also being compassionate with each other, with like other people and ourselves, because, you know, we are mirrors, essentially, and in multiple different ways, we mirror other people's bad habits or their insecurities or things they're trying to work on, and we also mirror what we're feeling internally. So, I think it's definitely something that is good to be conscious about.
Yeah.
So if I ever hurt your feelings, I'm so sorry. I just want to put it out there now. If I ever hurt anyone's feelings, sorry.
I agree. The lashing out when
Yes.
you're like in a terrible place, and you know, I've been thinking about this for actually quite some time now. I owe quite a few people an apology, just because like for me, when I was going through all those things like in college and like before college and, you know, the moving around and everything like that, there were a lot of people that got left behind because it was so hard for me to invest in friendships that weren't right in front of my face.
Right.
Because if I didn't see you every day in the path that I was walking in order to like get to a better spot, and not in like a philosophical way, like if you weren't at my job
Quite
or
literally.
you weren't at school
Yeah.
or you weren't at rehearsal with me, that was literally like, that was all my brain could focus on.
Right.
So some people got left behind, and some really nice people. Like I still like stalk their social medias, and I'm like, well, I'm glad they're doing good. You know what I mean? Because I don't have the balls to like message them yet and be like, hey, I know I just literally fucking ghosted, but I just wanted you to know that it had nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. And so I definitely owe quite a few people an apology. And then there's a few people that I legit lashed out at, because there was just so much going on, and it's just like, I never want to be that person again.
Right.
I never want to be that person again. So at some point, there's going to be an apology tour that I will be personally taking. An apology tour. No, I'm serious, because like my anxiety has been, and the thing is, it used to come from a place of like, oh, I want them to forgive me. Now it's coming from a place of, in case you didn't get closure from this or you internalized any of this, I want you to know I'm sorry. I take full responsibility for being fucked up. And like, and I hope that like me apologizing gives you that closure that you need in order to like move forward. Whether you want to still stay connected with me, reconnect, or we just say I'm appreciative of your existence as a human, but like we're just not cool like that. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, if I could bring somebody closure, because girl, when you be trying to go on a closure tour for yourself and deal with like the people that you wish you could get closure from, that shit is torture.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Sometimes you'll never get closure from those people too. And there are instances where they are not approachable people.
Yeah.
And whether or not they have done work since the last time you've spoken to them, for instance, if there were a scenario where you had like a really irrational and negative experience with somebody and they were in a very triggered place, or you in a very triggered place, but we're speaking from the perspective of them, triggered place on their behalf, and then, you know, you're like, all right, I'm going to take a lot of time and space away from this person. You come back over time. You don't know what they've been doing. And sometimes, you know, you got to wait for those people to approach you if they do want that closure, if they do want to apologize. And sometimes people do want that, they just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But a lot of like conversations that I've had to have on my healing journey with a therapist has been, how can you find closure for yourself? Because clearly with the dynamic, you're not going to be able to even speak to this person, and you're never going to get an apology. You know, like therapists know. They're like, we know how this goes. Yeah. But like, what an interesting concept. And I remember like getting that information, and with therapy work, it's like homework almost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, this is a big task. Like, what do you mean? You know, like almost want to be like, wow, like cry about it a little bit. And what do you mean I can't get this? But sometimes it takes like a lot of time to figure out what that looks like for you. And it does really come back to reflecting and turning that mirror in on you to see what it is that you actually need.
Yeah.
And then learning how to have a new conversation with yourself about maybe it's forgiveness, but it's some sort of dynamic, it's closure. And this is something that my therapist has coined to me. Maybe it's not about forgiving, it's more about releasing.
Yeah.
Because it's not always easy to find a way to forgive, especially if it's somebody who's brutally hurt you.
Yeah.
Also, if it's something new and fresh. So if it's like a new wound, for instance, she suggested just trying to let it go. And you don't have to focus so much on the heavy task of forgiving. Even though forgiving is like freeing, and we all want that. We all want to be able to feel like our best selves and forgive, but being in a human dynamic, it's just not that simple sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And because we can't get from like point A to point B and feel like our wings are flying and we're free, oh my gosh, I have no ties to this anymore. That's the goal. But it's okay if we can't get there, and it's okay if we can't get there right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know some people that they're just like, nope, not going to forgive them. Nope, never, not never. And it's just like, and people are always like, you forgive for yourself. You don't forgive for them. And it's so much easier to say than do.
Oh, yeah.
But it is there when you can get to that forgiveness thing, because for me, I can't let it go until I forgive you. Like, and so that's why I work really hard on the narrative and the perspectives. It's because if I can understand, I can have compassion. And if I have compassion, I can find grace and forgiveness. And then through that, then I can let it go.
Yeah.
Right? But but there are times where I'm like, we were talking about this in our previous episode, where I was just like, man, I could understand exactly where you're coming from, and be like, nah, fuck you. Like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Anger, too. Like, being like, fuck you, no. Anger is such a good tool. And I've lived a lot of my life with shame over anger because of where I've come from. My mother was always so vicious and angry and always acted from this, like, heated place. Like, I swear I saw steam come out of her ears and nose sometimes.
Yeah.
And I had such a negative identity of anger my whole life. And whenever I would feel angry, I would internalize the shit out of that and be like, I'm a bad person because I'm feeling this way. I'm a horrible person. And I've come to realize, no, anger is a warning sign from your system that you've been mistreated, that a boundary has been crossed. And it's a good tool to tap in and like gain that awareness. Like, okay, I'm angry. What's going on behind that? You know how people say anger and sadness are surface emotions?
Yes.
That's what it means. And it's taken me a long time to really integrate that.
Yeah. Was it you that posted on your Instagram that anger is the like the protector emotion or something like that?
It's possible.
I thought that I know you post so many, it's like so many, like, we gonna give you her social medias because she's got some really insightful posts that she's always posting on her story, especially we stalk. And like, I think it was you that it was like, it said something about anger is the protector emotion of all the other parts of you that like comes forward, you know, to like defend you.
Right.
And so it's like, when it's that capacity, it's like, okay, great. But some people, they just hone in on that anger.
And they let that fire enrage.
And it's just like, and that's all that they have. And I feel like that comes from just not digging deep enough to be like, where is this really coming from?
Sure. And you know, too, like, there are some people where, like, that fire is so engulfed in their personality. And yes, I agree with you. It must come from this place of not feeling heard or something happened. Like, we're all human, right? Something must have happened. However, it is our responsibility along the line somewhere
To kind of at least
to
start
kind of try to figure it out.
Just a little.
Just a little. And unfortunately, not everybody has that opportunity to tap into their emotional awareness, and then they live out the rest of their lives being a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And our generations are really starting to come to like a pivotal point with that, because we are so like embedded with psychology and healing, and like, granted, healing is great. We're all on these healing journeys, and it's also good to just take time to not focus on it too. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Like, take time to just enjoy your space. Like, use your energy to just be present too. Like, we all need that. We don't need to always focus on it. But yeah, so with that being said, I agree. But then there are some people that are just born a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And that's a different story. So we were talking about duality this morning with our breakfast, and it's like, you know, everything you see on social media, you got to take it with like a grain of salt. You got to put it through your own filters, because not every message means that it's meant for this way that you're feeling. I feel like we have different pockets inside of us. And then like each pocket, there are like vessels for information to go into. And like, this is like, say they're like labeled, like this is for me and my depression. This is for me and my happiness. This is for me and this wound that I have. And then we feed ourselves information online, especially. And we got to be careful with where we put it, because sometimes, yes, it could make sense, but it might not actually resonate with your true experience.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful about what we tell ourselves and feed ourselves. I think
Almost
that's
like
really
confirmation
important.
bias to a certain degree.
Confirmation bias? Can you expand on that?
So confirmation bias is kind of like you look for things that confirm the ideas and the thoughts that you have yourself. So like, as far as like, we're not going to get into politics today, but like they use that term a lot as far as like confirmation bias, where like you're trying to prove a point against this policy
Sure.
or this legislation or whatever. And so you specifically look out for news outlets and articles and stories that prove that your point is true.
I feel like eventually that's where it leads to. Because we can get so lost in like doom scrolling, for instance.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you guys experienced this.
Like the disassociation
Yes.
while you're like just scrolling
Oh
through.
my goodness. And you were talking about how your feed is curated. Like mine for a long time was like therapy. Just on my Instagram,
You know,
psychology.
I think we talked about this before.
Yeah. And I would just doom scroll. And after a certain point, I was like, whoa, hold on. And I need to take a step back. And I started to like reevaluate my feed and what it would show me. And I toned that down, let me tell you, because even though it's psychological information, like I'm not working directly with these people. They don't know my story and experience. I do. So I have to be like carrying the awareness enough to filter out that information for myself. And sometimes I don't in that moment have that awareness. And that's fine.
Sometimes
but
it alters it too, you know?
Yes.
Because it's like, you know, I know for myself most recently with everything that I've been going through, you know, sometimes the universe has a funny way of like making things pop up, and you're like, oh, thank you for that. Like, yeah, no, just go ahead, just tell me more about myself, go ahead.
Yeah.
But, you know, and also too, to piggyback off of the duality thing, you know, like you can feel two emotions simultaneously, and then like what you were saying with scrolling and everything, sometimes it's not healthy to always be looking at those posts, because you could be feeling one way, like this is how I feel, and then you see a post that pretty much tells you how you should feel about this, and it's nothing that you're feeling at all. Like if you're feeling angry,
yes,
and rightfully so you feel angry, but you see a post that's like, well, anger isn't the right thing, like, you know, like, you know, handling it with grace and compassion, which, listen, I'm all for that, but sometimes you have a right to be angry, the same way that sometimes, you know, you have a right to be sad, and then someone tells you, or some post or whatever says, you should be angry about this, and it's like, but I'm not. And it's like I don't think, that's why I don't like looking at those posts anymore on social media, because I just felt like I was unintentionally being told what I should feel. And it's not someone directly speaking to me, but just it would pop up on my timeline. So I actually stopped following a lot of those accounts, because at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me what my truth is, and you're not going to tell me how to feel about my emotions.
Yeah.
Because they're my emotions. I only truly know what took place or what I truly feel. You can sympathize with someone, and you could try to explain to them, you know, your opinion and everything, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're having this reaction that it's right or wrong.
Correct.
You know, like that's really how I feel with the whole situation going on, of I feel no anger, I feel no animosity. I feel nothing but love. And like we said yesterday with the whole duality thing, like I feel like I understand, but at the same time I'm so sad, and I'm like longing for what I thought was going to happen. But then there's other people who are like, you're not mad? And I'm like, no, like I feel nothing but love.
Even
you know
that
what I'm
question
saying?
can be triggering, because they're just like, well, why aren't you? Or like, so you're not this feeling. It's just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm actually not.
Right.
It's like, are you sure? And it's just like, why question? I'm
And good
literally
for
telling
you
you.
for just like just sticking to like what you're feeling.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like not being malleable to somebody else's
Well,
expectations.
that word is perfect for it. That's why just sometimes scrolling is not okay, because when when we feel our emotions, sometimes we're in that sensitive state where we are malleable.
Yeah.
And you see something, or you might talk to someone, and it might shift how you're thinking or feeling, and then you kind of fall into that rhythm of feeling what they said was the right thing to feel.
Yeah.
And then you feel even worse because it's not even your real feeling.
Yeah.
It's
know what
the
I'm saying?
should.
Yes.
Should. It's a word that like I was learning from a teacher for a while, and at some point they said take should out of your vocabulary because it's insinuating that somebody has to do something a certain way, or you have to do something. You know, like you ever like go do something leisurely with your friends and you're like, I have to go home and clean, I should be doing this, I gotta do this, and it's like, okay, all right. Like how long do we sit there and say I should do this, I should do this?
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting and something I'm mindful of now. And piggybacking onto what you're saying too about the posts, those posts will also validate the person who is in the wrong or an abuser too.
Yeah. Good.
And it's like, man, it's so vast. So everything is literally situational.
Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves that when we are impressionable, when we are malleable. And I also saw this thing too, that it said somewhere a therapist is telling the person who hurt you that they're doing a great job.
Oh my God. What kind of... Why would you say that to me?
Sorry.
How dare you bring that here?
So annoying.
For real. Nate said that. Nate was... because I'm trying to get back into therapy.
God.
I'm trying to get back into therapy, and Nate literally told me, he's like, well, you know, that's kind of the great thing about therapists. You just kind of go off, and they're like, yeah, and they just agree with you. He's like, it's great. So that's so funny you said that, because Nate literally, like, no, it's kind of true. Sometimes therapists don't hold you accountable when you should be held accountable.
Or
you know
they
what
don't
I'm saying?
see the entire situation.
Yeah.
Also true.
You got to be truthful.
That's why, like, with me, I'm way more detail-oriented with my therapist. I know that they're on my side, but I'm like, no, I want to tell you the whole thing so you can really tell me, am I wrong? Am I crazy?
Am I the asshole?
Exactly. Like, because I'm not about to sit here. I'm not one of those people that's going to lie to my therapist. Some people like to leave things. This is what I'm convinced.
We'll never know.
We'll never know, but I'm convinced.
Yeah.
I'm convinced, because if you can't come to terms with it with yourself in that kind of capacity, you going to tell your therapist?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some people, they're not telling the truth.
Sure.
They're not saying the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Also, too, we have our own separate experiences.
That's very true.
That's another dual
Very
reality.
But some people really have no idea that they out here, like, stepping on people's fucking sandcastles. Like, they're just walking on the beach.
Sad.
Just like, squish, squish, squish. Is a fucking, you know, I had my sandwich and I look, my sandcastle. Like, drop my sandwich.
And then a seagull flies in, steals the sandwich. Everything is going wrong that day.
I'm just like, what the hell? Like, you know, and that to me is so, like, it's so mind-boggling, because I'm like, how do you walk through life? And I know that there are people, it happens all the time. But, like, how do you walk through life, like, not thinking about how you affect other people around you, your words, your energy, your demeanor, like, just your choices, like, some of your choices or some of your beliefs. How do you go around thinking that it doesn't affect other people?
Right.
And it's just like, because it fucking does.
Yeah.
You know, especially the close people around you. The people that are in your, like, closest proximity, they're going to get it the worst.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I'm not trying to treat my people, like, terrible.
And that's good. They, like, keep up that awareness and curb ourselves. I do that too.
I mean, it teeters between that and anxiety of, like, overthinking. And being like, was I being an asshole? But
I get
doing
that.
my best. But was I rude? Like,
I will sit with those same thoughts.
you know,
at night.
just ruminate on it for the next 2 weeks. I'm just, like, in bed, like... thinking about the thing.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to make a suggestion. So I listened to this affirmation music maker. Her name is Tony Jones. And she's got, so I have an affirmations playlist. I'll probably put a link. I'm a little embarrassed about it, but I listen to it every day.
What? Don't be
And
embarrassed.
Tony Jones, let me tell you something about this woman. She's got one particular track that's healing is not my purpose. In order to piggyback off of what you said a few minutes ago, where like you can't always focus on that, you have to be present. And when I tell you the words, it's like healing is not my purpose. And she says like, when I relax, I achieve. When I play, like my purpose is fulfilled. Like I'm like, girl. Mm-hmm. I gotta meet this woman one day because she's so inspiring. The healing is not my purpose one, specifically for this conversation. It's so good because she's just saying like, live your life. I'm living, I'm eating, enjoying good food.
Yeah.
I think she might be a Taurus
Aw.
because of the way she references food
Very
and
earthy.
playing and just like the sensual things,
Yeah.
and it's like, you need that. Like we can't, like we have these conversations every week, right?
Yeah.
And they're still like, that's why I don't want us to like focus too hard on this. It's like, yes, we have this conversation, but it's not like a serious thing. Like we goof off. It's just us and our friends.
We're just
talking.
chilling or at the
Yeah.
table. Like we're in my apartment. We're just hanging out like we would normally do.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
Yeah, it's fun as shit.
Yeah.
And so I'm just grateful for you guys.
Oh my gosh, me too.
That we've been doing this for how many years now, and now we've finally decided to start recording. Even though I bet you Carlton has a ton of us.
Oh yeah,
Like
we
my
had great
yeah.
conversations.
my husband is always low key recording our conversations when we get in depth because he always thinks that there's going to be a nugget for us
Yeah.
later that like might be helpful in the long run. Like you might have
Yeah.
let spirit or universe like speak through
Comes
you in that
through
moment
all the time.
and it's just like sometimes you might need a playback on that.
Yeah.
And those are magical moments to have to like come back to. I have this journal on the table because there's a piece in here that's very much a moment like that, and I will read it to you later.
Okay.
But yeah, so things like that, totally. And also, speaking of the affirmations you were just speaking about, the quality of that reminds me a lot of yoga. Because a lot of yoga is saying, be playful in life, play, make sure you go out and play, like contact your inner child and go outside and have fun. And that's called Leela. So they're always saying like, play. Quick story about Leela. We were in our yoga teacher training, and one of the mornings, our teacher was showing us how to do this roll with your body, okay? And like in a typical yoga class, like you have your yoga mats in like formation and like everybody has their space. So he divvied up the class. He was like, okay, this half just sit against the wall for a sec. And we're like, all right. And so the other people were in the center and he's instructing them into this position. And you basically had to like, the happy baby position where you're on your back?
Yeah.
And you put your hands up and you grab from the inside of your feet. You cup your hands over your feet and your legs are bent and like it's a hip opener. So he kind of gets them in that position and then he goes, okay, now start rocking back and forth, and people are rocking, they're moving. He's like, now gain momentum. Before you know it, people are just rolling around in this position. One friend, his name is Matt, and he's bald. And it just helps the situation because I'm sitting against the wall looking at everybody. Like everybody's like giggling, they're rolling around, they're going all over the room. And then my friend Matt rolls up. He comes from the bottom and he looks at me and he goes, "Whoa!" And I lost my shit. I saw him and I was like, "You're a literal baby right now," and he's a grown ass man. It was just so awesome. It's like tapping into that Leela, that playfulness, just exceptional because we've all like grown up with that ability, and hopeful that everybody has had the opportunity and chance to play, and if not, like try it out now. Be silly, and it's also like try not to care about what other people think.
Yeah.
That's what we trying to do here.
Yeah, we literally talked about it on last episode or 2 episodes ago. I think
One
it was
of
2
those.
episodes ago.
Like not taking ourselves seriously and
too
just
seriously
like
and-
putting ourselves like out there, and it's part of the work and the journey, but we doing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so. Woo! That was a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like the energy.
Insert applause.
The energy is flowing. Yes, insert applause. All right, so we are going to move on to our next segment. Ooh, the Am I the Asshole?
Okay, you have been hyping me up for this, so I can't wait to hear what it is.
I'm
Okay.
scared.
Me too.
Here we go. It's actually a really short story, so let's see. Am I the asshole for wanting my best friend to walk me down the aisle? Throwaway account because I'm scared someone may find this. So I, 27 female, am going to get married to my fiance, 32 male. For a little backstory, we met in my job since he was a client. We started chatting, and soon we started dating for 4 years until he proposed to me in July from last year. We started planning the wedding, which is in April, so I'm really excited about it. But I always wanted my best friend, 26 female, to walk me down the aisle since we were 10. I knew her in diapers, and she helped me through a lot of low points in my life no matter what. So I was talking to my father about the wedding, and he said, I'm so happy to walk you down the aisle. And I told him, Lucy, fake name, is walking me down the aisle. He exploded and called my mother... and the two of them went crazy. My father asked me why in tears, and I exploded. Oh. During my whole life, all you did was get drunk and insult us during all our childhood. My brother and I always wanted to give a hug, a gift, a drawing, anything, only to find you two talking about how we could be better sons and daughters to you when we were 7 years old. Wow. They both started crying, and I left. I can't believe how effortlessly they always made my life a living hell. So, am I the asshole?
I have so much to say.
No.
Oh my gosh. Good for her for speaking her truth and standing up against her asshole parents.
Yeah.
Because they were assholes to them. 7 years old, are you kidding me? First of all, she did not have to go in and explain in detail for like an answer to arrive, Because at this day and age, things are changing. Tradition is not really, we're not carrying out a lot of traditions anymore. So that's one point. But the other point is, hello, you decided to treat me like this my entire life. And you think just because it's my wedding that you're entitled to have this position for your own self-fulfillment? I think not. It's a big deal. And if this is special to her and she decided this when she was 10 in the midst of her shit show with her parents, then yeah, that's so heartfelt. That's special. I think the act of giving somebody away is I don't know, I haven't given it much thought, but picturing her best friend walking her down the aisle and giving her hand to her new husband, what a special moment. And you want that to be with a loving person. And if that person was not loving to you, absolutely not. Walk your own walk.
Yeah, isn't that what's so crazy about, I want to say parents especially, but people that feel entitled to certain things, either because of tradition or because I'm your parent or because, I'm your husband or I'm your wife or just I'm your best friend. Just any sort of I am inserts whatever relation that you know what I'm saying?
And then comes the ententlement of I'm this close to you, so therefore I should reap these benefits.
Exactly. That's wild. Good for you for just fucking ripping that Band-Aid off and tell them about themselves again. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to
you told them.
But, no, I think that's really awesome that, because I'm not going to lie, you had me in the first half. That meme was they had us in the first half, but you had me in the first half because I was because I'm thinking of my own situation of well,
you have great parents.
I would choose no one else but my father to walk me down the aisle. Not because of tradition-wise, but because
your dad wasn't toxic and he showed you love.
He
deserves
what I'm saying.
that role.
My dad deserves that role.
Yeah. He fills that role for you.
Yeah, he. To me, it's a passing of take care of my little girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so you had me at first. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. I was like it turned into like, oh shit, bitch. I'm like, this one gonna get me going, okay? But no, I think that's awesome that because like you said, she didn't have to explain to them why. But I think that's awesome that even just straight out the gate, she decided that I'm going to do this that will make me feel loved, fulfilled, and happy, and feels right on my special fucking day.
Absolutely.
Like, how selfish of you to be like, how dare you not let me do this? Because a lot of times people that want to do something, they don't want to do it. It's because it looks good. It's because that's what is tradition. And yeah, it's tradition because you love your child.
Yeah.
Like,
and what did you do from point A to point B where we are now to fulfill that role for that person?
Yep.
Like the thing is, you know how we were just saying, hello, I'm your father. What do you mean I'm not going to walk you down the aisle? And the response is, yeah, you're my father. So what have you been doing this whole motherfucking time?
Exactly. Like, yeah, so like that blows my mind when people state their title and it's like, yes, that is correct. That is your title.
But you got to do the work.
What were you doing that showed that was your title? What were you doing that reassured me of your title?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, no, you're not the asshole. Good for you.
Not
And
the
you know what?
asshole.
I hope her parents took that as a wake up. Because eventually, you know, if she has kids and stuff like that, like, I mean, who doesn't want to see the grandbabies, you know? So I really hope that her parents take that as a wake-up call and that they can work through it and I don't want to say fix a past because the past, you know, it happened, but more so be able to work through it, forgive one another, and her parents actually let themselves be held accountable because it does not sound like that's what they were doing. But I hope that they can work through that so then... You know, don't work through it so then he can walk you down the aisle. I'm very stubborn. Don't fucking let that shit happen.
For sure.
Yeah, let your bestie
That's not
walk
the goal.
you.
Yeah.
But the goal of fixing a broken relationship, if you want to do that. But I really hope that they can work through that and get a healthy relationship. So then also, too, maybe she... I mean, I don't know how she's feeling, but maybe if she needs closure, she could get that closure. Or maybe if she deep down is longing for that secure relationship with her parents, she could get it and just kind of realize you and your brother did nothing wrong. You were children. Children are going to be messy, emotionally, physically. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
How many times do you see little kids be doing things where it's like, why did you do that?
The thing, it makes me so sad that she literally said, how many times have me and my brother wanted to just give you a hug?
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
you said we needed to do better. Like, it's 7 years old.
So
Ariana is 7 years old.
Yeah.
Like, to ask for a hug and just not receive that is just so freaking sad. Yeah. And the thing that frustrates me is that, like... her parents cried, like, when she said what she had to say. And it's just, like, it's frustrating. I've had moments, right? This is a little personal without getting too personal. I've had moments where I tried talking to a person that, like, hurt me. And instead of giving me the space to be upset, they took it and they became upset. And then I had to take... the energy and time away from myself, which I started this conversation to get what I needed to get off of my motherfucking chest. And now I gotta sit here and fucking comfort your ass.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's so obnoxious.
The fact that you're whisper yelling is amazing.
It's so right. She's like, I fucking agree. I relate to this.
It's so upsetting. Yeah. You know, and like so here's the thing. Truth about myself, because I can feel other people's emotions sometimes, or I can really empathize with what they're doing. Sometimes when someone has come to me and they're upset, it makes me tear up because I'm like, damn, you're very distraught right now. And I be trying to keep it the fuck together. But sometimes I'm like, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm that friend that will cry with you.
Oh,
and just be like, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which I feel like is... less of an emotional burden because we're just gonna cry together about your thing, though. Like, we're not gonna be about, like, we're not gonna talk about, like, how I also am, like, feeling some type of way about this other thing. It's like, no, we're talking about the thing that happened to you, you know, and it makes me emotional because I'm like, oh my God, I love this person and they're upset. And so now I'm upset because they're upset, you know,
Yeah.
but I still want to be there. Whereas you take the whole fucking thing and you turn that bitch around on yourself and you're like, well, I remember when blah, 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 blah. Or like when someone tries to like criticize you in a certain kind of way, or like they have something to say specifically about the way that you've been acting, and you just like, like in a crazy capacity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not always the best at taking criticism. Like, this is the duality. This is me, like, humbling myself and knowing, like, I'm making a judgy statement. But I'm also, like, I acknowledge that this is a thing that I have worked through and worked on. Whereas there are other people that just take the entire situation, make it about themselves, and then you just drain the fuck out of this other person, a.k.a. me, to take care of you when I was already distraught and working with, like, a couple of drops in my fucking cup, you know?
Yeah. And like, when that's turned on you, that other person is like, well, what about me? And like, the issue wasn't about you in the first place, you know?
Yeah. It definitely is kind of a fine line of like, because, you know, if you did something wrong, sometimes you don't see it at first, so you might get defensive. Or like you said, sometimes you get emotional. And sometimes it can go from you guys having a conversation back and forth of, I felt X, Y, and Z because you did this. Okay, well, I did this because I felt X, Y, and Z. And actually having a productive conversation and working through it, and both sides getting to explain. Because at the there's 3 sides to a story. Your side, my side, the truth. And sometimes it is very, very hard to not teeter into a blame game, or like you said, well, now you're upset when I came to you to be upset, so now I feel like I have to stuff away my emotions.
It's like
and
stunts
be there
your
for
healing.
you. And like not fall into either of those sides and stay on the path of, I felt this because this. I did this because you know, I felt this, and like just actually having a productive conversation of acknowledging both parties' feelings and acknowledging why both parties did what they did, and just also being able to realize that sometimes you might be going to someone to speak about something that they did as a retaliation of something you did to them a couple of events ago that they maybe didn't really heal from, or didn't really get over, or they didn't digest it as how they currently are doing. So those conversations are so fucking hard. So hard, because it, like I said, it can very easily fall into either of those realms and not stay on the path of, realistically, both parties feel hurt because of what reason. Okay, state your reason. I will state my reason. And
then the both of you guys can get some sort of closure, or at least get it off of your chest, right?
Yes. Like, hold yourself accountable. The other person holds their self accountable, and you speak about things. Because, like I said, I might have done something as an act of retaliation. And not even realize it.
And if you're open to gaining that awareness, great.
Yes, hold yourself accountable.
Hashtag
and be
adulting.
Open. No, for real.
For real,
Hold yourself accountable, and also be open to the criticism of it. And also don't be afraid to, you know, speak your truth as well. Because you can be held accountable for something, but then maybe in that situation, there is something that other person did wrong. Even if they did come to speak to you about it, of course, listen to what they're saying, acknowledge their feelings. But sometimes there are moments where someone comes to you about something you did that upset them and you triggered them, but I didn't cause you that trauma. You were triggered, and I unfortunately triggered you, but it can also, again, fall into that you're taking your trauma out on me. Yes, I did do something. Yes, I did. But
the reaction is like...
It's the reaction.
Yes, like I did A, but B, C, D, E, F was not me. So why are you taking that out on me? Like, that's why it's such a hard conversation, because you did something and like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like it's
Yeah.
not that easy.
You got to
as
be
just,
able to gauge
yes.
like what falls where and how
Yes.
much of this is my responsibility and how much of this was the situation.
Exactly.
Okay, so for our last segment, we're just going to let Christina read a little something from her journal that she felt like she wanted to share with us and with all of you. We're very excited about this. So without further ado, Christina.
Yeah, so I am one of those people who has so many journals, and I put them away on a shelf after using like 1 or 3 pages. And when I find them, It's kind of like this, it's an agreement that I have with the universe. You know, whenever I need this message, let it resurface. And I oftentimes don't remember writing these things. And we were mentioning earlier how we have conversations, and your husband Carlton will record them sometimes, because sometimes like a nugget, like a gold nugget coming through, or something coming through us, and it's a message we need to hear later. And I feel like this is very connected to our conversation today, and may it be a message to resonate and take with anybody here and whoever's listening. There's a couple different things I'm going to touch on, so I'm just going to read what I wrote down. And a lot of this, you'll hear me speaking to myself as like a kid or something, because it comes from a nurturing entity, these messages. Yeah. What is the worth of fear? I don't get it. It's amazing how sometimes we don't understand the way our own minds assemble reactions. What is it? Are you really actually scared? Scared of what? Honestly, what is it? Are you just so used to drilling your own mind to defend a particular way? I don't think you're actually frightened. I have seen you capable of feeling it all and dishing out beauty to the universe. Are you still hurting? Maybe I am afraid to push on that wound because of how powerful I know it was. Have I been hiding since then? I think I need to start accepting it and forgiving it. It was serious. It was real and honest, which is so important to realize. I love you no matter what, little bird. This is me talking to me at this point. You can fly any place and your hum will be heard by the sun. You got this. You were made for this and so much more. You are a beautiful soul. You are a beautiful soul. You are a beautiful soul. You are, I am. You are going to be okay. I got you. I'm doing this for myself. I'm giving myself a reflection of me and space to grow, to breathe, to set free. And I do like what I see. I just have to set into it. That's all. I am fortunate. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to be here. And then tagging on to that is this thought. You are better off trusting yourself. I spend most of my time talking myself down and out while second-guessing my abilities when I could just be letting myself glow. My confidence is my mantra. Learn it and learn it well. You are such a wholesome human being with so many talents and capabilities, and you're yearning to be unveiled. Let yourself go and just do it. If you mess up, okay. That is not what should stop you. True or false? You got this. All of this. Trace your beauty in everything, and all else will fall into place.
Yes. That's wonderful. Hell yeah. Do you remember exactly what was going through your mind when you were writing some of that, or not to get too personal?
No, I'm wondering too. This is, I thankfully put a date, but it says 2018.
Oh, that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. And I'm like, what was going on in that year? But it just sounds like I was cycling through something. I was healing and having that much in my awareness in the healing journey of something. Clearly there's reflection here. I don't know. I think I mentioned something that was like painful and serious of a situation, and that must have been in reflection of a wound. And as a result of wounds, I spent a lot of time talking myself out of a spiral and talking myself out of second-guessing my abilities. And this is just that, redirection of my thoughts and saying, no, like, you got this. That's changing the narrative. So I don't know what it was about, but it seems like it can be related to on so many different levels,
Yeah. Yeah, that's really awesome. I love that you had like a full like affirmation section for yourself, because I totally do that when
You
I
do?
journal. Yes. I'll run through like 5 pages of and then at the end I have like a full page of like, I am grateful, I am blessed, I am happy, I am healthy, I am going to do this thing or whatever, and then or anything that has to do with the particular thing that I'm battling in that moment. And I just have like a full-fledged like, okay, we're gonna have a positive session right here in this moment. You got out what you needed to get out the muck, and now
Yes.
let's refill that with some honey or something, something nice and sweet for yourself that
Gratitude
you can like.
is the attitude.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. Okay.
It's not an original idea, but yes.
No, it's great. It's great though. It's my first time hearing it like that, so I'm just like, that's great. You made that up on your own.
That opens you to receiving when you're in a grateful
Yeah.
mindset, when you're in flow and you're able to emit that grateful feeling and connect with that source. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. All right, Dom.
It is now time that we bake a cake, and that cake
Is confetti.
Oh, I thought it was funfetti,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, you're right. Funfetti.
Confetti pops out of the center.
Oh my god! You know they do have those surprise cakes with all that candy and stuff in the middle. I'm like, I couldn't,
right?
but it's a nice sentiment.
Yeah.
It's cute.
But it just gets everywhere.
Could you imagine? Wait, before we get into the affirmations, ready? Chocolate cake.
Okay.
With vanilla frosting and maybe a caramel drizzle, right?
Ooh.
The surprise candy on the inside. Reese's Pieces, like M&Ms.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yes. My favorite Halloween candy.
She's like doing ASMR.
I'm feeling it right now.
So that's what I just pictured in my head if we're going to do like a happy like candy cake surprise thing. It's like, I want peanut butter in there.
Yes.
Peanut butter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
All right. So,
right.
our affirmation. So our affirmation for today, hopefully it resonates with you. If it does not, come back next time, so then we could keep telling you to come back next time if it resonates or not.
Yeah.
But no, I hope it does resonate with you, and maybe if it doesn't resonate upon the first time that you hear it, you ponder about it, and it helps you in whatever way, you deem best. So today, it is... I don't have to fix everything for everyone.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you're not responsible for snap.
Yes.
You're not responsible for other people's emotions. If like, well, not entirely, because like if you're being a dick, then and that person gets upset, you're low key responsible for that. Now you're high key responsible.
Yeah, but
for
you're
that,
not responsible for how
healing
everybody feels at every single second.
Yes.
Every single problem is not yours to fix, because if that is what you find yourself doing, I personally feel like either it's an ego thing and you need to check that, or B, you are distracting yourself from your problem, so you're fixing and trying to fix everybody else's problems.
Being the savior. You don't have to be a hero. We got to save ourselves.
Yeah.
But we can hold space.
Absolutely.
While somebody's going through
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes, and also remember that you are not entitled to people's space when they're going through things.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to tell you. They can be working on it in them with
course.
themselves or with
Yeah.
the people that they just feel safe with in that moment. It's no offense to you. Try not to take that personally.
Yeah.
Because it's just in that moment, whatever it is that I think Dom and I had discussed this in one of our other episodes where it was like, if a person is not like really talking to you about it, just think of it as the universe is using whoever they are speaking to as the vessel to like get the words across to what it is that they need. And you're in that moment, it's just not you, but don't take that personally, because it's just, you can take that moment to reflect with yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And
Totally.
and that's really what it is. You know what I mean? And like, also, don't let people bully you into thinking that you're responsible for how they're feeling all the time.
Yeah.
There's so many different... I feel like this is such a multifaceted, like, concept that, like, don't let people think that you're responsible for all of their things.
Yes. And don't let people try to tell you that because they're your best friend or because they're your cousin or mother that they have to be there for you and you have to tell them everything that's going on. You get to decide who you feel comfortable and safe sharing these things with. And sometimes it depends on the person and how they're able to hold space for you.
Absolutely. Because and here's the other thing. You're right, because maybe you're not the safest space in that moment because of what you're going through.
Which also don't take that as like a knock at your character.
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
it just, I can't serve this person the way that they need it. And I feel like it takes more strength and love to realize that, because you no longer are now inserting your ego and yourself and like, well, they don't want to talk to me? Like, no, like, you want that, like, all right, I can't be the person to help you or hold that space, whether it's my own problems or you just don't feel comfortable talking to me, or maybe you feel you could get something better from somebody else. Maybe you just don't want to talk to me about it. I'm going to be like, okay, but find somebody who does. Like, get that help, bro.
Absolutely. Don't keep it like trapped. Don't keep it bottled up. You know, mental health is such an important thing, and if you consistently just keep it stifled down, you're going to explode. So I truly hope that anybody watching this and the people who aren't watching this or listening find a safe space that they are able to release some of that tension, because you never know when you can pop. So it's just always good to have some sort of creative outlet or safe person, or you sit in your car and you go get fast food and you eat in your car, like, and just take a moment of quiet, or you listen to some music.
Sing your heart out.
Exactly.
Cry.
Wonderful affirmation, Dom.
Thank you. Thank you, Pinterest.
I know, right? Pinterest is the shit when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay, so Christina, we just wanted to thank you for joining us today. We had such a wonderful time listening to you, talking with you, laughing with you, all of the wonderful things with you. Please let the people know, where can they find you?
Okay. So I have a few different social media accounts. You might follow me already. I am Soul Ta Mind on Instagram, Soul TA Mind. And that's where I post a lot of the personal stuff. I'm always sharing about my own journey, and for the most part, I'm a pretty open book. I handle a lot of things, and I just kind of put it out there because you never know who else is dealing with it. I'm also 3.moons.company. That's my art page. It is my baby, and I just started a new band. It's called Sentience, and you can find us on Instagram, _.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
Yes. Okay. We love to promote a small business queen. We do. All right.
For real. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this shit up. So you can find us on multiple different platforms. Spotify, which if you're listening to us via Spotify right now, thank you. Follow us, please. On Spotify, you can follow and I think set up notifications. It is, right?
Yeah, you can also rate us. So
yes, ratings.
Go to the ratings part, click that 5-star, please. If you enjoyed this episode or any other episode that we've posted on there, we really appreciate it, because it's going to bring us up to more recommended podcasts for more people who would enjoy listening to us talk shit. And
shit or shift?
Both, girl, both.
Son of a bitch, you marketing queen.
Yes, so we are Talk Your Shift on all social media platforms, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and we will be promoting a Patreon soon. Patreon! Very, very excited. It's going to be affordable, fun, filled with content, all the fuzz.
Alliteration.
I know, right? I tend to do that in all these episodes. They're sick of me.
Can you tell she likes English and literature?
Yes, so please when we are all up and running for the Patreon, we will definitely let you know. We're just putting this little thing in your ear just to let you know that we are coming for you.
Yes.
On top of that, we are going to have an email set up. So anyone who needs advice, we'll keep you anonymous. You want to send us some stuff, we'll totally talk about your stuff. And if you need some advice, we'll talk about it with the people.
Yeah, so, don't be afraid to reach out, leave some comments on Instagram, TikTok, send us emails, and yeah, if you can,
baby.
if you can
Subscribe.
yes, subscribe, and I gotta think how I'm gonna switch up the like button thing today. Okay, so, just, if you could shake hands with the like button, and then tell it that it's pretty. just do that for us, thank you.
Ooh, an interesting.
Wonderful. All right. It was so wonderful to have you and so wonderful to have you guys. We hope you enjoy the new sound and
Yes.
our guests.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for letting us have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. See you soon. Bye.